Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our NOAA Climate Global Change Postdoc Fellowship webinar. This is the webinar for information of how to apply for our 2024 call for fellows. I do have a number of people online with me today, and I would like them all to just take a minute to introduce themselves so you know who is online to answer questions. I will start with myself. I'm Cindy Bruhier. I'm the Deputy Director for the SPS-CPAESS program, and this is where the fellowship program lives and where you would be applying for the fellowship. I'm going to hand it over to Kate Rod, our program specialist.
Good morning, good evening, wherever people are calling in from. Kate Rod, the CPAESS program coordinator for the C&GC fellowship program.
Thanks, Kate. Jenny Selt, our program manager from NOAA.
Hi, I'm Jenny Sells, and I provide advice and guidance to the program from the NOAA side.
Thank you so much, Jenny. We also have some of our steering committee members on the line. They are the group that would be part of the selection committee. And I'm welcoming today Dr. Charles Coven and Dr. Chris Still. I'm going to pass it over to you first, Charlie.
Hi, my name is Charlie Coven. As it says here, I'm a staff scientist here at Lawrence Berkeley National Lab. And my research is on the coupling between the climate system and the carbon cycle.
Thank you very much, Charlie. Chris.
Yeah, hello, my name is Chris. I'm at Oregon State University, and I'm on the steering committee. I'm chairing it this year. It'll be my third time on the steering committee, and my research focuses on terrestrial ecosystem, carbon and water and energy cycling.
Thank you very much for joining us today and also helping with the webinar. I'm going to jump right in and give you an overview of what is needed to apply for this postdoc. The number of slides that I have is really, there's only a couple of them just to give you that broad overview. And once I've done that, we're going to open it up and leave it the majority of the time for questions and answers. So I want to start off with the application eligibility. So we are looking for candidates that has held a PhD for no more than 3 years before applying for this fellowship. And we do require all our fellowship to move to a new institute. You cannot stay at the current one where you are doing your PhD, except in very compelling circumstances. Our applicants should apply if they are already finished with a PhD or will have their PhD finished by November of next year. So November 2024 is the latest you can finish your PhD if you are planning to apply for this fellowship. And we do require all our fellows to start on the latest, the first Monday in December. Our application starts now. The application deadline is in January. We anticipate to make the announcements of our new fellows in April, and you can start anytime between April and the first week in December of 2024. If we have an entire packet that we require our fellows to fill in, which is on the next couple of slides. If the application is not complete, it will not be passed on to our steering committee. So please pay attention to this and make sure you have a full packet when you apply. Our host institutes must be in the United States, but we do not require our applicants to be either citizens of the United States or to have finished their degree in the United States. But if you are not, we do require you to relocate to the United States for the 2 years of your fellowship. Any university in the United States can be a host for our fellows, except the ones that I've listed here. The reasons I have these listed is because these universities, and specifically the departments underneath these universities, currently have a fellow, and we do not allow 2 fellowship at the same department. So for instance, Boston College, the Earth and Environmental Sciences department is not allowed to have a fellow next year, but another department in the Boston University is allowed to have a fellow. We also have Brown University, Columbia University, Scripps, Stanford, 2 departments in the University of Arizona, University of Colorado, Boulder, University of Hawaii, as well as University of Minnesota, that all have departments that is not eligible this year. I have them on here, and I know I've moved over them very, very quickly, but they are also on our website, so you can refer back to them on our website. What do we require from you to apply? We need a personal statement, maximum of 2 pages for this statement. What we would like to hear from you in these 2 pages is, why are you interested in this fellowship? What is compelling for you to apply to this fellowship? We would like to know a little bit about your leadership history and what is important to you in terms of leadership. And we also would like to hear about your vision on inclusion, diversity, and creating a welcoming environment. And then we would like you to define how your proposal links to the NOAA strategic direction and how you plan to interact with NOAA in the future. All of that in one personal statement. We also want your curriculum vitae, your proposal. The proposal needs to be titled and no longer than 5 pages. That does exclude all your citations. So any citations that you reference in these 5 pages can exceed the 5-page limit. And then we would like your host material. So you're responsible for obtaining the host material that we need and include it in your packet. Once you have these 4 things, we would like you to combine them as one single PDF document and upload it as a single PDF document for us in our Workday portal. We also have instructions online if you do not know how to combine a single or all of these documents into a single PDF document. Once you start applying, we are going to ask you a couple of additional questions so that we can gather a full picture of the people that's applying for this position. So keep all of this handy for when you start applying. The stuff that we are going to require from you when you apply is information about your PhD that you're currently doing. For that, we would require the title of your PhD as well as the abstract, when you have completed or plan to complete your PhD degree, as well as your current PhD advisor and their contact information. We also would like you to restate your postdoc proposal title. We would like you to provide us with high-level topic areas for the postdoc that you are proposing, also a couple of keywords, and your host and their contact information. We are going to reach out to everybody's professional references. So we ask that you provide us with 4 professional references and their contact information. We will reach out to them and ask them to fill in a questionnaire. So all you need to do is provide us with the references and we will take it from there. How are we going to assess the applicants that we receive? We are going to look at the relevance and the fit and make sure that this proposal that you are proposing for your PhD does fit with the entire program as well as fit with NOAA strategic plans. We are looking at the quality of the proposal as well as quality of academic records. And then we will also look at references, your leadership and service, as well as diversity and inclusion. So what is the benefits of this program? Apart from being part of a very prestigious program, We also have a lot of benefits for our postdocs. We are providing relocation assistance for this position, and that is up to 3,500 relocation assistance. We provide $8,000 per year for scientific travel, publications, and other miscellaneous expenses. And we provide $1,500 in the first year and $750 in the second year as a stipend from UCAR. This stipend is to set up a home office and to make sure that you have everything to start your postdoc. Typically, the host will provide a computer, so you don't need that. So this is just to set up so that you can work remotely or have the additional equipment that your host will not provide. We have health, dental, and vision plans, life insurance, flexible spending accounts, as well as a retirement account. Our retirement accounts are very generous. UCAR contributes 10% of your base salary, whereas we expect you to contribute 5% of your base salary to retirement. You would get 20 days paid time off, 60 hours of sick leave per year, as well as family sick leave, 10 paid holidays, parental leave, and dependent care assistance. For information, please reach out to myself or to Kate and Jenny if you have any questions. And with that, I'm going to switch over to the questions. So Brett, if you could switch over to the Slido questions, I would appreciate that. Okay, I will start taking the first questions here. Can a scholar who had his PhD in Africa and resided in Africa at the moment apply for this fellowship? Absolutely. You may apply. As I said before in the presentation, you do not have to get your PhD in the United States, but we are going to require that you move to the United States for the 2 years of your fellowship. The next question is about salary and for how long. Very good question. It is a fixed term. It's a 2-year term. We do not typically extend this beyond the 2 years. The salary at the moment, our first-year students are getting just under $77,000 a year. Our second-year students, if you move over to a second year, is just under $80,000 a year. So it's a fixed salary for the 2 years that you are with us. And at the moment, we do not have direct connections to any tenure. So this is at the university, although you would be at a university while working for UCAR on a NOAA scholarship, we do not have options for tenure after this activity. We do see that because of our postdocs being at universities for this extended period of time, a number of them do get positions at either the university that they are at for their postdoc or other positions that does lead to tenure. How influential is the choice of host institutes in this decision? That is a great question, and I'm going to ask our steering committee if one of them would like to take this question.
Sure, I can start, and if Chris can add to that. I would say the key thing is the fit of the institution and the host to the research being proposed. I think of depending on what you propose, there will be certain places that make more sense than others to do that work. And I think that's the thing that we look at and discuss is, is this the right place to do the research that's being proposed, and is it being, and is the host the right person to help with that? Chris, I don't know, do you have anything to add to that?
I think that's a great answer. I would just, Charlie's last point is it's the host is also really important, not just the institute, but the person you're planning to work with is really key.
And I guess the second part, well, I guess you can answer the last question.
No problem. Yes, correct. There's a couple of ineligible ones right now, but a university hosting in the past does not influence their chances of hosting in the future at all. And a department can host multiple fellows over years, but not in the same year. So we will not allow 2 fellows next year to be at the same department. So no, we won't be doing that. This question is, I'm interested in understanding the effects of the Sahara Desert expansion. Ginny, would you like to take this one?
Sure. Sorry, I'm just reading this again to digest the question. So I think, again, that's kind of a broad topic. And so in your statement of interest, you'd want to think about how this is connected to NOAA priorities and NOAA directions. And maybe the steering committee members can speak to projects that have been funded in this kind of flavor of topic. I'm trying to think if I can think of any off the top of my head. But another tool that you have is the website that shows projects that have been successfully selected and funded, and they really span many different topics and disciplines. And so you can get a sense of where projects fall in terms of relevance in each discipline.
Thanks, Ginny.
Yeah, I would just, I think the past fellows have been pretty broad. The committee considers a pretty wide range of applications. Having said all that, I agree that it's worth, narrowing this down a little bit, but just off the, at the surface, I would say it does fit, some of this does fit within NOAA's priorities.
Thanks, Chris and Jenny. Another good question. If I have started a postdoc at a new institute, different from my PhD, can I remain at this new institute? The answer to that is yes. So we have done that in the past. If somebody has moved to a new institute and started a postdoc and then applied to stay at that institute, we have done that. The one caveat that I do want to say here is that we are giving preference to first postdocs. So if you have already started a postdoc, we would keep that in mind during our selection process, but we have awarded fellows in this category.
Yeah, I would just add that, yeah, we have awarded fellows, but in general, if you've been at a certain place for a year or more and you just kind of want to extend the postdoc with a NOAA, that's a little less favorable than someone who wants to start a new postdoc at a new place. It's not a complete disqualifier, but generally it's not looked upon as favorably. And Charlie, you may have more to add on that as well. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's yeah, I agree with what you just said, Chris. That the intent of this is to fund new collaborations that wouldn't otherwise be happening, not to extend existing collaborations.
Thank you for the additional on that one. Absolutely agree. The next question, is there any additional funds for instrumentation? Would that come out of the 8,000 per year discretionary pool? As a general rule, we would like the universities to play a part when it comes to buying instrumentations for this postdoc, and not that this come out of the postdoc's allocation. We have allowed that the instrumentation comes out of the postdoc discretionary pool. But as a general rule, we would prefer that you use your $8,000 for travel and for publications. So my multiple answer to this one is yes, you can use your $8,000. I would prefer that you don't, and we do not have additional money for that. Anybody else would like to add to that? Okay, we can move to the next question, please. Okay, one of them just disappeared. There was a question about NOAA collaboration. I don't know if that was withdrawn, but in case it was not, yes, you may be at NOAA. You can also be at, there we go. Thank you so much. Can we have NOAA employees as collaborators? Absolutely, you can. We would love for you to have that. You can also have other federal agencies as collaborators, including UCAR and NCAR. Jenny, did you want to add to that?
I just wanted to add that you can also be hosted by NOAA or another federal lab. So it can be more than a collaboration. It can be a host organization. And so you can be hosted by other organizations that are not universities.
Thank you for that, Jenny. So the question is about some universities that are ineligible to be hosts. That is correct. So if you would like to apply to one of those institutes, it is not ineligible. But as I said, just read that very carefully, and that is the department of that specific university. So if you do not want to apply at that specific department that we've listed, but would like to apply at a different department in that university, then you may do so.
And can I just add something? I would say to think outside the box a little bit when you're looking at potential hosts. There's sort of a standard set of very famous people that get many of these applicants. And I think the committee increasingly is looking to diversify who hosts these prestigious fellowship awardees. So look a little bit outside of what you're just, your normal sphere, and look at other people that might be possible hosts.
Thank you for that, Chris. Very, very good advice there. Look a little bit further, see what you can do, so what would further your career that is outside your normal big players. A question is, how many projects are funded each year? We are trying to fund and have funding available for 8 postdocs next year. That number is not fixed. It's not always 8. It has been 8 for the last couple of years. And we are planning to fund 8 fellows next year as well. Is there still a possibility to do a fellowship at the Scripps Oceanography Geoscience Research Division? I would have to look if that is one of the ones that is ineligible right now. So I would recommend that you send us an email with this question, because I don't, except if somebody on the panel have this answer offhand, we can double check that one for you and answer. Does anybody on the panel have the answer to this one directly?
I think we ruled out the Scripps Research Institution of Oceanography, but I would say they should double check with you. Okay.
Thanks, Jenny. Okay, this is a long question. My potential host used to work as a postdoc in my group, but is an assistant professor in a different institute. No mentor-mentee relationship was established between us. He is excited about my proposal and would like to be my mentor. Does this fact of our collaboration before invalid him? I'm going to pass that on to our steering committee.
I don't think so. I mean, that's, yeah, I don't, I mean, again, the intent is to fund new relationships, but I think in this case, yeah, this seems sort of at the margin. I don't know, Chris, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think this is fine. We had a very similar situation last year for a very highly ranked candidate, and we discussed this situation. I think the committee was comfortable with a bit of an pre-existing relationship. So I think that would be fine. And I think, if you do apply, just be clear what the nature of the relationship was, before and what you propose and things like that. But I think it does not invalidate your application.
I agree with that answer. I don't think it will invalidate, but please be very clear on this in your personal statement. Is the career state of the host taken into consideration? In other words, if one were applied for a postdoc to work with a host who is a new faculty member who was a former NOAA postdoc? Absolutely not. As Chris said before, we really want you to think outside the box and not just think of the host that has tenure and has been hosts for a number of years. So establishing with a new faculty member is not a problem for us. And Chris and Charlie, did you want to expand on that?
I mean, just to say, just a second, that yeah, the points that have come before is that, I think in general, these kinds of senior hosts who've had hosted lots of postdocs before is maybe looked upon somewhat disfavorably, as compared to junior faculty who hasn't done this.
Yeah, I agree completely. I think, junior faculty are perfectly eligible, and I think that's something the committee would like. And again, someone who's a new and starting out versus someone who's senior and has 10 postdocs already and has had 5 NOAA, I think we would tend to favor the junior faculty host more than the person who's already had many opportunities to have NOAA postdocs. So yeah, again, think outside the box for who you want to apply to work with.
Is there an age limit on this fellowship? Absolutely not. We do not discriminate in any form, and that includes age. The one piece that we do not want is somebody that has been that has completed their PhD long ago and then apply for this fellowship. So we are looking for fellows that has completed their PhD within the last 3 years, and that this would be their first PhD fellowship. Chris, Charlie, Ginny, any additional comments? Doesn't seem to be. A very interesting question for your relocation. Can you carry your spouse and dependents with you? And will there be any restriction on what they can do in the United States in terms of earned income in the case of a spouse or schooling for children? A number of pieces there. And so I'm going to answer them in pieces. Absolutely, you can bring your family with you. We actually would recommend you doing that. The relocation stipend that we provide is exactly the same. So we are still paying $3,500 if it's you or you and the entire family. As far as restrictions on what they can do in the United States, that becomes a little bit more tricky. Schooling for children is not a problem. You can put your kids in school in the United States. If a spouse can work and earn income or not is going to depend on the visa. And under certain visas, a spouse can work, and under other visas, a spouse cannot work. So in this one, I do want to say, reach out to us and we will connect you with our immigration specialist, and they can expand on this question because it's a little bit tricky. It will depend from case to case. On that one, Kate, you have worked with this a number of times. Do you have any additional comments on this one?
I think you covered it. The main thing is to reach out to myself and Cindy with all your family information, and then we can go through step by step with our immigration team, because there are a variety of options and everybody's circumstance is different. So yeah, just reach out to us.
That's great. You should share best practice and common pitfalls to avoid when writing a proposal. I am opening this to the entire panel. So Chris, Charlie, Jenny, I'm picking an order. Please go ahead.
Okay, it's a hard question. I think it's a good question. It's a short proposal, so I think you need to, really work a lot on it. It's actually harder to write a short proposal than a long proposal because every word counts more than a longer proposal. I would definitely get lots of feedback from others when you write the proposal. You can maybe ask other people who've written these proposals and get copies of theirs to take a look at. But yeah, it's you get lots of feedback from other people. I would say is probably the best single answer.
Yeah, and I guess just to add to that, just make sure you have a really compelling, argument and plan for what makes, why this research needs to be done, why you're the person to do it, why the host is the person to host you in doing it. Those are the key. Why it hasn't been, or how it fills a need in the research, in the scientific literature and in the research community. Those are all the things that we look at.
And I'll add two things because I'm not on the steering committee, but sometimes I get pulled in for relevance questions to NOAA. So I think another one is, why is this research important for the C&GC fellowship, and why is it a good fit for the C&GC fellowship? Is this research going to get done whether your C&GC fellowship is funded or not, or is this really special to C&GC? And then the second kind of tip is to write kind of the relevance in your own words. Try not to copy and paste language from different reports documents, because that isn't very powerful in a relevance statement. Again, try to describe why your project is relevant in your own words.
Thanks for that. Our next question is about which NOAA strategic plan should be consulted. Jenny, I'm passing this one over to you as well.
Oh gosh. So there are a number of different strategic documents that NOAA has to give you some insight in terms of NOAA's mission and the types of work that it's pursuing. The 2022 to 2026 strategic plan is a good place to start. I also mentioned kind of looking at the different types of projects that have been funded in the past. We also have a weather, water, climate strategy, a climate ecosystems fisheries initiative strategy, a precipitation prediction grand challenge strategy. And I don't want to say, I also wouldn't limit your ideas and your topics to those strategic documents, because NOAA has a very broad mission focusing on, the Earth system.
Thanks for that comprehensive answer, Jenny. And no problems arriving a little bit late. So the question is, when are awardees announced and how flexible is the start date? We are trying to announce the awardees typically in the April timeframe. Give and take how all our schedules are working out, we are shooting for the first 2 weeks in April. We are hoping to get that all wrapped up by the end of April in terms of getting the awardees announced and getting the acceptance back from our awardees. And the start date is very flexible. You can start anytime after the announcement has been made, and must start before the first Monday in December. So December 2024's first Monday. First generation question: is this a fellowship typically used for people who want to pursue academic faculty positions, or may those who wish to pursue a faculty position gain from this fellowship? I would say absolutely yes. Most of our fellows do go into academic positions after the fellowship, but we have a number of fellows that go into other areas as well. So this is not specifically for academic positions. And actually joining either an industry, joining NOAA itself afterwards, or joining a facility like NCAR or UCAR, we've seen a number of those as well. And I'm going to ask the steering committee if they have other insights on this one.
Yeah, I mean, I can answer this. I mean, as somebody who's not a university faculty member, but I'm a staff scientist at a federally funded research institute. Yeah, absolutely. This if you want to do research, then this is a great opportunity to do that. Whether that's at a university or at a national lab type thing like where I work, or any number of places. So absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're very interested in people just going to go on and make an impact and doing interesting work wherever it is. Yeah, we do not exclude non-academic aspirants.
Absolutely. And, you might start it with the idea of becoming academic, and then in the second year decide this is not for you and you're going somewhere else. Absolutely not a problem. And we're not going to ask where you plan to land up at the end of this fellowship.
And I just want to reiterate, in case people join late, that you don't have to do your fellowship at a university. You can choose the host that is still doing research at an organization, but is not located at a traditional university. So a federal lab or a private sector company or nonprofit organization.
Thanks, Ginny. And I think you have just also anticipated the next question in terms of if you're interested working with a scientist at NCAR. Absolutely, an NCAR scientist can be a host, and as Ginny just said, also at a federal lab or at a private institute. We do not exclusively make this the academic institution. So NCAR is perfectly eligible. Based on what I'm reading, the focus of this fellowship seems to be the Earth system science in the area of climate variability, etc. Is there room for interdisciplinary research, a mix of natural and social science? The reason I'm asking is because I've noticed mention of coupled human and natural. My first reaction to that is absolutely yes, but I would love our panel to also comment on this one.
Yeah, I can start. I would say yes as well. I think in the 3 years, I think it's year 3 that I've been on the committee, there's more and more applicants who are coming in with a very large focus on climate change impacts and have a very large socio-ecological or coupled natural human focus. And in fact, 2 of our steering committee members specialize in that exact area. We actually brought them on because we just didn't have the expertise to address some of the social and ecological science that was being proposed. So I would say yes, for sure. It is still probably more weighted, that's very true, to climate science, climate variability, but increasingly there are more applications coming in this area.
Yep, agreed with everything Chris has just said.
And I'll just add, we intentionally beefed up our interdisciplinary and social science language in the call this year, working with the Climate Societal and Interactions Division in the Climate Program Office. And so they primarily focus on interdisciplinary, integrated, and social sciences. And so we're really drawing on their expertise, we being the NOAA Climate Program Office, to bring that type of language into the call this year.
Thank you very much for that. Following up on my last point, I notice coupled human and natural systems at the end of the list, which has an element of interdisciplinarity in it. Absolutely, interdisciplinary projects are good. I think our panel has addressed this question very well. Is there anything that anybody would like to expand on?
I mean, I would just say I think all of the applicants are interdisciplinary to some degree. There's fewer that are trying to span the human natural and fewer that frame their applications as transdisciplinary. But I think in general, every application is interdisciplinary, even if it's just within the climate biophysical sciences. That's just a bit of a side commentary on language being used. But I think we really want interdisciplinary in all of our applicants. All of our applications, rather.
Thanks, Chris. When assessing the candidate, is the number of publications more important or the quality of the research proposal, or of equal importance? Panel members, would you like to take this one?
Yeah, I guess I would say that the first and foremost, the quality of the proposal is that's like the first thing that we're gonna really look at. I think the having certainly having some publication record is crucial, but we're not saying, oh, that we're only going to consider students who have had some number of publications. I think in general in life the number of publications is less important than the quality of the publications, and in this case the quality of the research proposal is the most important thing. But quality and to a lesser degree number of publications is also important.
Thank you for that. And we also acknowledge the fact that it takes a long time to publish papers. So we do appreciate the fact that if you are finishing up your PhD, you're probably waiting to get your papers published. And we have a question on if multiple applicants are looking to be hosted at the same institute, is there a limitation? The answer to that is yes. I would also recommend looking back at this webinar once it's online, as well as looking at our website. There are a number of institutes that's ineligible this year because they are currently hosting a first-year fellow. And it is not the institute, it's the department of the institute that's ineligible. And we will not accept two fellows at the same department. We will accept them at the same institute in different departments, but we would not accept two fellows at the same department. That does seem to have been the last question. I'm going to hold on for a bit. Thank you very much, Brett, for putting up the QR code. If there's more questions, please go to that QR code. We'll hold on for a minute or two to hear if there's additional questions.
I have a question, Cindy, for the applicants. What should they think about when asking people to provide references?
That is a very good question. We do want 4 references. One of them would be your advisor, your current PhD advisor, and then 3 of them would be people that can speak about you as a person and about you as on your science that you bring to the NOAA Fellowship. So I would say that when you look at finding somebody that could speak to you, look at somebody that could speak to you as a person and not just about you as a research. So what have you done in terms of leadership? What have you done in terms of research? And not just about one aspect of you. I would also say, although we reach out to your references, please make sure that they know this is coming and that we are going to ask for them to fill in a questionnaire about you so that they can fill it in promptly and that you do not have to stress about it. I'm going to open this up for the entire group to answer. Chris, Charlie, Kate, does any of you want to add to this one? Good question, Jenny.
I don't have much to add. Oh, sorry, Charlie.
No, you go. You go.
Hey, the letter from the host is maybe not considered as much compared to the letters from the recommenders, because the host letter can, that person has the motivation to, so we don't consider that quite as strongly as the other ones. I would just make that comment.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at these for, as evidence, right? As evidence to support that, the quality of the research, the quality of the research, the larger, trajectory and potential of the candidate, these kinds of things.
Great.
Just one thought that I had that we didn't have, I think, laid out in the instructions is with transcripts and so forth, if they could be provided in English, it's very beneficial to our steering committee members for review.
Yes, and I see there's also just a question that came in on 4 references. That's a lot. Yes, that is. And this is actually something that we as a committee has been talking about, if this is something that we want to change in the future, to go to fewer references. We do find it beneficial to get a number of references to get a holistic picture. But I would also ask the steering committee if they have any comments on this one.
I mean, I would say, yeah. I mean, how long they've known you for is, it allows sort of the strength of the evidence, right? If it's not a close relationship, then there's less evidence there. But yeah, it's a balance. Find the people who you think can help make the best case.
I have more questions. If we want to use our time to ask questions fellows might be interested in.
Absolutely.
So a number of fellows recently have been co-hosted by 2 institutions. Can you talk about the pros and cons of co-hosting in applications?
And I'm going to ask the committee to do the co-hosting piece, but from can this be done? Absolutely. We had a number of students or fellows that has been co-hosted. We are allowing co-hosting. That is not a problem. What we would like to see is one letter from the 2 hosts about how this would work. How are they working together to provide our fellow with the best experience possible moving forward? So we would sort of like to have that idea of how this is going to work for you and for the hosts. And then we all the other material for the hosts, we ask that both hosts provide us with their CVs and mentoring plans. But I would like to ask Chris and Charlie if they have any extra information about what do they see as the positives and the negatives of having 2 hosts?
Yeah, thanks, Cindy. I would just say you need to like Cindy said, you need to articulate why, co-hosts are better than a single host. I don't think we look, I think we look favorably on that for sure, but you just need to articulate why that is, and they would as well in their letter, as Cindy says. I think the only challenge I could see would be if one of your hosts is at one institution, the other one is quite a ways away, and how are you really going to collaborate and I think you just need to say how you would do that and where you'd spend more time. But it's sort of on you to articulate why that's important. I think it's possibly quite a good benefit, but you just need to sort of make the case, because the majority of applicants don't propose co-hosts, I would say.
Thank you for that. I see we also have another online question. How is the quality of the publications assessed? Is there a specific criteria that you look for or weigh more? In other words, reputation of the journal, opinion of experts in the field, etc. Panel, I'm passing this over to you.
I mean, I'll take that. Yeah, I mean, the committee, has a broad enough expertise that, we sort of, divide candidates into, by sort of expertise, but, sort of assign them to committee members by the sort of relevance of their expertise. And yeah, we look at the papers, we read them, see if they're making, compelling arguments. Typically, these are recently published papers, and so they haven't had time, to collect citations or not collect citations. So that's not really a very useful metric. Reputation of the journal. I mean, I think most of us tend to look at the sort of journal reputation as maybe somewhat overemphasized in general, and so we try and just read the papers and see if they're making a significant contribution. That's the primary determinant of that.
Thank you. Will the steering committee read the publications from the candidates? Steering committee, do you read?
We do. I mean, there's a lot to read, right? But I think we're all reasonably skilled at reading lots of papers. So yeah, absolutely.
If I have co-advisors, will I just put one of them as an advisor reference? Committee, what would you like to have in this case?
Well, I think, didn't you earlier, Cindy, say that they need to have one letter from both proposed co-advisors? Is that?
I think this is asking about
not about the
co-PhD advisors currently.
PhD. Yeah, I don't have an opinion actually about what's better. I would say talk to both of them. If they could both write a letter, great, but otherwise I would just see which one could do it, whichever one maybe worked more closely with, or whoever has the space to do it.
Comments from you, Charlie?
Nope.
Yeah, I agree. You can put one of them or ask one to be as writing a letter as your advisor and one to write a letter as just an additional reference. So there's no reason why I think you have to exclude one of them, but I also don't think there's a specific reason why you have to have both of them. Out of curiosity, how many applicants do you usually receive in a year? Actually, a very good question. This is an incredibly competitive process. We typically receive sort of, I would say, between 80 and 100, 120 applicants a year. I think during COVID, the number dropped a little bit closer to the 80 mark, but typically it is around that 100 mark that we do see applicants for this position. So very, very competitive position. Since we're waiting for additional questions to come in, Jenny, if you had questions, or our panel, if you had other comments for our listeners online. Yes, the presentation is being recorded.
I'll just add that steering committee members are not allowed to be, they're ineligible to be hosts as well. I don't know if we had that in the presentation.
We do not, but that is a very good point. Correct. So our steering committee members are online and they are not allowed. But if you happen to reach out to one of them, they will also say, sorry, I cannot be a host. So very good point. Thank you, Jenny.
And I'll also add as the NOAA liaison, if you're interested in a NOAA host and you're having trouble navigating NOAA's website and aren't quite sure who to reach out to, feel free to email me, and I can send you some names to get started.
Question seems to be, we have answered all the questions from our participants. I think if I'll give one last opening for our panel members and NOAA, as well as Kate, if you have any final comments before we wrap this up as we're coming up to the end of the session.
I think we've covered some fantastic questions, so I think we've provided good insight.
Fantastic. So with that, I would wrap up the presentation. As I said before, it is being recorded. And once we have the final recording, we will make it available online so you can listen to this again. And please let us know if you have questions. So reach out to any of the panel members, reach out to myself or Jenny and Kate as well. And there was one quick question that hopped in here that asked, thank you for everyone on today's panel. Thank you very much. And we are very happy to have you here. And I'm happy to drop, I'm going to share my screen for a second here and put contact information on so that the contact information is on here for anybody that needs to ask additional questions. And I believe is that the right slide? I can't see the slide.
Yeah, I don't see the slide either.
No,
Oh, there we go.
there it is. That's contact information.
So here's the contact information. Again, I'm Cindy Brehier. I'm the lead for the program at SPS-CPAESS. Kate Rod is our program coordinator and Jenny is our program manager. So please email any of us if you need any additional information. We're happy to help. Thanks, everyone. And with that, I will call the webinar closed.
Thank you, panel. Thank you, Cindy.
Thank you.